welcome back to my channel. So today, as you guys can see from the title, this is a very highly requested video. I've been getting so many comments, DMs and messages on how I do my new eyebrows. So if you guys want to see how to do a more feathery eyebrow but still achieve them Instagram brows, please keep watching. Okay guys, so let's get started. At the moment, I don't have anything on my eyebrows, but my eyebrows are tattooed already. So I know a lot of people always ask me about my eyebrows, especially on Instagram videos when I do like a skincare routine. I always get those crusty comments like, why did you draw on your eyebrows just to do your skincare? Bitch, they are tattooed, okay? So the last time I got my eyebrows tattooed was about a year ago. I went to Cami and I talk about her all the time. She is amazing. She's known for individual eyelashes and she also does eyebrow tattooing, and she is based in LA. So I have done an eyebrow routine on my channel before, and that's how to do like ombre tattoo and tattoo correction and stuff like that. Recently I've been doing my eyebrows a bit differently, and I've been doing it a bit more bushier, a bit more like feather like strokes. I do have a couple of products that I alternate with. There's no go-to products that I use all the time. It literally just depends on what I see first and what I pick up first. So one product that I absolutely love is my Brow Gals Convertible Brow, and this is in the shade 02. So this is a really cool formulation. You can use this wet or dry and it doesn't ruin the formulation of it. I really love the fact that the pan is big enough so you can wet like one corner if you wanted to and leave the other bit dry. To be honest, I never ever use this shade. This shade is a bit too warm for me, but I love using these two shades right here. So normally with stuff like this, I normally just spray a bit of Fix Plus right on the mirror bit right here. That's why you can see this patch is always really like dirty and grimy and stuff like that. Or sometimes I'll just lick my fucking brush the ratchet kind of way, or I just use any water spray. I can just even use a bit of tap water or a bit of bottled water, and I just pour a bit on the mirror here, and then I literally go back and forth between wetting my brush and then dipping it inside the powder. I really love this because it achieves more of like a natural type of finish. It's not as like sharp looking. Another product that I've been absolutely loving is my Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade. I actually stopped using this for a while because mine kept getting all dried and it was really hard to work with, but I recently found a new way to use it again. So I use this shade in dark brown. I also have this shade Ebony, but I find Ebony is really dark and I find it's a bit too harsh for me. So sometimes I use Ebony on like my towel bit, but I love dark brown. So this is what it looks like inside. It's more like a gel consistency, but you do have to be careful with this because I do find it does dry out and then it gets really hard to work with. So a way to stop that is my Duraline from Inglot. If you guys haven't tried this before, anyone that loves gel line, you use gel liners and you find that it freaking dries up on you and it's so annoying, you need this in your life because this bad boy is unlike anything else. Like before, I've even tried to mix in oil, I've tried to mix in water and stuff, and it does work for a little bit, but then afterwards the product dries up again. With this product, it kind of like reignites it, and what I do is I put like quite a big drop in here, and I don't know if you can see, but it's quite like glistening, it's quite shiny, and it just basically makes the product go on really smoothly. It makes everything waterproof as well. I could even mix this with the Brow Gal and it'll make it really waterproof. So the Inglot gel lines are amazing, but they always dry out, so you definitely need to pick up a Duraline to go along with it. And also recently I've been loving this product, and this is from Ardell Beauty, so really nice and affordable, and it's called Stroke a Brow and it's a feathering pen. They have two shades. My favourite shade is this one, medium brown. So there's medium brown and there's dark brown. Dark brown is a bit warmer, so medium brown I use only at the front. You can't really fill in your whole eyebrow with this unless you've got really naturally bushy brows. I love the applicator of this. As you guys can see, it's a really nice fine point, literally individual hairs, so you can draw like baby brush strokes. So love that product as well. And then I also want to show you guys some brushes. So my favourite brush that I absolutely love is from Zoeva. It's a 317 winged eyeliner brush. This one, I don't know if you can see, but it is super razor sharp. Look how thin that motherfucker is. Yes, bitch. So you want a brush to be really nice and thin. So when I go like this, it just goes like a really like fine tip. Another product that I absolutely love as well, it's a bit more affordable as well. Zoeva's affordable, but this is even more affordable, and this is from NYX and it's their 18 brush. It doesn't go as thin as this brush, but it's still really good, still really affordable. It's got a spoolie on the other side as well, so you can kind of brush it out. So we're going to be using the Zoeva today, and I'm going to be using the Dip Brow Pomade. So normally I put in quite a few drops of the Inglot Duraline. So I put like a couple in depending on how dry this is, but I just done this like yesterday, so it's still quite wet. Normally you don't have to use that many drops, and this ink blot thing lasts for ages. I've had this for over a year and I've only just used like a little bit of it. And I don't like to do the wettest bit because I'm going to start off with the towel. I always do the towel bits first and then I know where to feather it. So I'm just picking a little bit up, and this is really sharp, so you can draw really nice small strokes. I only like my strokes at the front, and then I like this bit to be really nice and crisp. But obviously if you've got really full brows, if you don't have your eyebrows tattooed, then you can just do feather like strokes all throughout your brow. Because I have my tattoo, it kind of helps me with my shape already. So all I really do is just go on top of the shape just to make it a bit more crisp, because even though you have your eyebrows tattooed or microbladed, you're most likely going to have to still fill it in with makeup, because whenever you put on foundation and stuff, it just goes a bit murky. Your eyebrows, you want it to pop, you know, so I always have to still go in with product. So I kind of do this bit roughly because I always go in with concealer afterwards and I clean it all up. Recently I've been finding I prefer my eyebrows a bit thicker, especially on the tail bit. I find sometimes when I take photos my eyebrows look a bit thin in photos, so I just like to kind of go over that bit, make it really nice and dark. I always do this tail bit darker than the front bit, so I always kind of like ombre it so that it's really dark here. That's why sometimes I even go in with the ebony shade or with a dark powder, and I powder it on top, so this tail bit is really nice and dark, and then it fades really nicely at the front. So what I kind of do on these bits here is I literally just outline it and give it as much arch as possible without looking too like I'm freaking raising my eyebrows all the time. The more you arch your eyebrow here, the more brow bone you're gonna have. And also sometimes if you build up eyebrow at the top, you can actually blend your eyeshadow higher, because the more you bring it down, it's gonna close your eyelid up a bit. So at the front I've only got a bit of brow hair here, but I kind of just bring it back like this much way, so literally like halfway, and then that's all I do for that. So I'm gonna quickly do my other eyebrow and I'll be back. Okay, so now that I've done both of the edges on the outer corners, I'm gonna start fading this bit in. So personally I feel like my eyebrows at the moment is a bit too far apart, so the next time I go to do my eyebrows I'm gonna try to get it going a bit closer. If you guys don't know as well, the further apart your eyebrows, the wider your nose will look, and there's no bitch out there that wants a wide ass nose, so you know we're gonna about to draw a monobrow up in here. So I'm gonna go in now with the middle bit where I dropped in the Duraline, and this is the bit that you want to be the most wet, the most juicy, because the juicier the product, the thinner your brush can go. And you want to make sure your brush is really thin, so I literally just brush all the product on the edge so that it gets my brush really nice and flat. What I do now is definitely takes a lot of practice. When I first done it I was like, this is so hard, and if you find that your brush isn't doing it for you, you need to go and buy a new brush. Honestly, it makes so much difference if you get a really thin angled brush. I definitely maybe invest in a really good one if you want to do this kind of like feather like strokes, because it makes your eyebrows look a bit more natural when your eyebrows aren't natural at all and they're tattooed like me. Okay, what I do is I rest my little pinky finger on my cheek here, and this just helps me balance out my elbow, because if I just done it free willy-nilly, my hand would be like shaking, I wouldn't be able to get the right kind of like posture. So I always bring my mirror a bit lower so I'm looking down rather than looking up, because I feel like my eyelashes and stuff will get in the way. Make sure your brush is really nice and sharp and thin, and then I don't do it at the front, I kind of do it like the middle bit, and I just draw upwards here. And honestly, I'm just doing the smallest strokes. And actually what I've learned is you kind of want to put spacing in between them so you can actually see a little bit of skin, and that's how it makes it look more realistic. So what I'm doing, I'm literally just putting my finger on my cheek and I'm just drawing these little strokes so it's barely grazing my skin. So I'm mainly just using the top bit of the brush, so it's just this little angle bit here, and that's the only bit that's touching my skin. So you always want to make sure you go back and forth, even if you feel like the brush is getting a little bit dry, you want a bit more product on. I mainly just load it on the tip bit here. So if you don't have the dip brow, what you can do is just use your normal powder, and you can wet it as well, but sometimes it does ruin the product, so maybe just wet it on the corner. So I literally just draw upwards. Sometimes I want like slightly thicker strokes, so I push a bit harder, so make it look like, oh, you have some like fine little hairs and some like thicker hairs. So when I go further down the eyebrow, I kind of angle it this way, but at the front of the brow I kind of angle it up, straight up to the sky, straight up to the heavens, honey. And then what I also like to do is here I like to draw like small little hairs. When I go actually into the eyebrow, I draw like longer hairs, so I literally just draw like a few little stray ones just so it looks a bit more natural, and then afterwards when I get to the actual eyebrow bit, I draw as thick as I want my eyebrow to look. So I don't know if you can see now, there's some hair stroke that's really fine, there's some hair stroke that's darker because I put more pressure. So even if you mess it up a little bit, don't worry too much because you can just use like a spoolie. So I don't know if you can see that there's like a big blob here. So what I do is I literally just spoolie it so that it goes a bit lighter. And then all the bits that's underneath here, I'm going to clean it up with a bit of concealer in a minute. So I definitely find when I have the pomade with the jawline, it gets a lot finer strokes. So I definitely have to make sure I keep going back in because the product kind of dries out really quickly on the brush. Because the pomades are so long wearing, kind of known to dry out really quickly. I think the hardest bit about doing your eyebrows this way is that you need to learn how to apply really light pressure. And that's the bit that I found definitely the hardest. You almost want it to be like barely grazing the skin. Just like lightly, ever so honestly lightly touching your skin. And that's why you need to make sure you always go back in with more products so that when you do touch lightly, there's actually products going to go on there, you know. That's literally it for my eyebrow. And then what I do is I use a concealer brush. This is a Colourpop one, but I've used so many other ones. Any concealer brush that's a bit more flat like this. And then I go in with a matte conceal and correct palette. This is a limited edition one, but you can buy them like normal packaging. And I just go for like my skin tone shade. I always prefer concealers that's a bit more creamy because I can have a lot more control rather than like a runny concealer. And then I just go underneath and I just carve everything out. So any mistakes that you made can literally be erased. And you can also make your tail really nice and slim as well by doing this technique. So some people as well, they go in with a lighter shade underneath their eyebrow and that kind of acts like your brow bone highlight. That's it for this brow. Okay, so on the other brow, I will do it with a powder so you guys see the difference. I'm just going to use a wet wipe to take off all the pomade. And this is what I do after I use pomades all the time. So sometimes I find that your brush will go really, really hard. So every time I finish off using the pomade, I always just go in with a wipe. And that's just a quick way to clean it. So the next time there's not that hard ass pomade on your brush, you know. And then on the other eyebrow, I'll use the Brow Girl Convertible Brow. And this is where it's really good because you can use this shade for the tail of your eyebrow. And then you can use the lighter shade for the front of your eyebrow. So I'm just going to use a bit of Fix Plus and then I just literally put my brush in there so it's really nice and like wet. And then I'm going to go in with this shade here to do my first strokes, and then to define it I'll go in with the darker one. I just start off by doing the same light ass stroke just to kind of like fill in most of the blanks. I definitely kind of prefer the powder whenever I do something a bit more like a natural brow, but when I do like a full-on strong beat, that's when I go in with the pomade. So honestly, it just depends on what you're feeling. The only thing I find about when you use this method is sometimes it goes really watery. It's really hard to get a consistent colour because you have to always make sure that the brush and the amount of powder that you have is okay, and that's really hard to measure because you're just doing your eyebrows quickly. So I literally just do like one dip into the water and then one dip into the brow product. Just do random ass strokes. You know what they say, guys, brows are sisters and not twins. Even though we want the eyebrows to be as twinish as possible, but I always have one eyebrow that I like doing more than the other. So this is normally what I would do, like if I'm going on a beach kind of thing and I just want a really light brow. But for nighttime, what I do is I put a bit more Fix Plus on the mirror bit, and then honestly I'll just tap it really lightly, and then I'll go in with a little dab of the darker colour here, and then I just lightly define just certain brow hairs. You guys can see it's quite naturally quite soft and bushy, but I just want to add a bit more depth, so I'll go in with a slightly darker shade and I'll just add a few darker hair strokes. So just lightly I go on top of the hairs that I've made already and I just literally darken them up. Just a few little strokes to make it a bit deeper. So this is the difference between the pomade and then the powder. Sometimes I find with the pomade it does look a bit faker, if you guys can say that, but in photos this stands out a bit more. Sometimes with powder it kind of like, when you take photos, especially with flash, it kind of like doesn't pop, you can't see the strokes. And then to finish it all off, I always go in with a stroke of brow, and then I literally go on top just to really define everything, because I find with this you get more control than with the brush. You know, the brush I'm trying to like angle it so it's perfect. With this it's like a fine ass stroke from the get-go, and also because this is ink, you're always going to get a bit more like definition from it. I just lightly go on top of any places where I want to make sure there's a hair there, you know. I've also tried to do this just by itself, but I find I can't do like that many strokes of it. It kind of dries out a little bit, so I also have to make sure I shake it up, and this just adds a bit more texture to the brow. And then I can always blend the strokes into the ombre fade here as well. So it just deepens up the little hair strokes a bit more. That is a bit harsh. It looks kind of like zebra stripes. So I'm just going to brush that out with a spoolie to make it a bit softer and blend in more. And then I'm just going to go over this one with concealer to make it really sharp. Okay, and that's it for my eyebrows. Okay guys, so that's it for this video and my updated brow routine. I've got so many requests to film a new video. So if you guys have any other videos that you guys want me to refilm again, that you want me to do an updated routine, please let me know down below, because I'm always willing to film whatever you guys want on this channel. So if you guys haven't yet, please make sure to subscribe and also turn your little notification bell on, because I upload on my channel every single Wednesdays and Sundays. Also, if you haven't yet, make sure you follow me on all my other social media platforms. It's just Thuy on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Enjoy the bloopers, guys. So as you guys, my phone's not on silent. Oh my god, I'm so fucking hungry, bitch. My hair is snatched for the god. Okay, great, we can get some food now. Yeah.